And since the first week of free agency is over, the question is, who is the current winner of free agency? And maybe you guys are thinking I'm crazy, but to me, this was easy. They won on day one. That was the New England Patriots. They, like, whether you're mad that they spent so much money, they signed some big names. Like, first of all, they got their quarterback back in Cam Newton, so there he knows the offense. You don't have to teach a new guy a new bag of tricks or whatever. They got Matt Judon, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Mills, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, and Kyle Van Noyback. Like, those are popular names in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And I think they're 100% the winners of free agency easily.
Look, maybe it's, the Colts recently not wanting to spend any money at all, and Chris Ballard's rubbing off on me a bit. But I don't like. I think we can all agree they overpaid for some guys.
The Patriots,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but it's tough free agency, man. It's not like
it is. It is.
You're not gonna sign a big name without throwing money around, Like,
absolutely.
The one thing I will say about that, though, with the overpay is they structured the contracts obviously in a really smart way, so that, like, let's say like Judon got a big contract. His cancels out after 2 years. Like, there's no huge dead cap if he plays like shit for them, and they have to cut him after 2 years. So they approached it well. Obviously, there's overpayment, like Matt said. It's free agency. It's gonna happen, but
yeah,
free agency is.
There's no doubt that on paper, the Patriots did the best this year. Are we going to look back next year and say, like, oh, shit, they had so many other holes they needed to address that they didn't? Maybe. I don't know. But on paper, I will give it to you. Absolutely.
And to me, the only thing is, like, if you're going to say, like, you overpaid for a guy in free agency, like, to me, I'm just going to tell you that's a terrible argument, because free agency in the NFL is just a glorified bidding war for players. Like whoever is going to dish out the most cash is going to get the players. So if you're going to say they're losing because they're spending money, like.
No, it's not that. I'm just more of a future guy. I think the Patriots as an organization didn't handle a losing season very well, and they want to get back to it right away, which in experience, in history, we've seen that doing that through the draft and player development is the best way to build franchises, right? Free agency is not the best way to build franchises. It's the best. It might be the best way to win now, but for a long-term thing.
Free agency is like you're one piece away. That's how I've always viewed free agency. Is you sign a guy because he's the guy that's going to bring you to the place that you want to go. But that's why I agree with you, the draft. You have to build through the draft and everything. And once you build that, that's when you can jump into free agency.
Yeah. And look, I'm biased because the Colts are, like, right now what they're doing is they're building through the draft entirely. We had $40 million in cap this year. We signed not a scrub, but like a second tier, third tier pass rusher from the Chargers, and that's it. And we re-signed some guys. You know what I mean? So, again, I'm biased on this, but I don't think it's the way to build a franchise. But free agency, if we're talking strictly free agency, they absolutely won free agency because they signed the best guys available.
I agree with you. I have the Pats winning, but I do agree with you, Dawson. I think I saw a stat the last 3 years or 2 years, the teams who've given out the most guaranteed money and biggest contract have been the Jets and the Jaguars.
Yeah, I saw a stat too.
For the worst records. They combined for the worst records over the last 2 years. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I completely agree with you. The Patriots.
Jags. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, no, the Patriots this year to me though, smart contracts, and also like proven players for the most part. Like Judon is a guy that you know what you're getting with him. Hunter Henry as well. I love that guy. Jonnu, we'll see where that goes. I like him personally. So yeah, there's some big names. I like Jalen Mills obviously as an Eagles fan. I hope they don't use him on an island because he does get burned quite a bit. But other than that, no, I definitely think the Patriots won this are winning so far.
Yeah.
Not for nothing. I just want to give a quick shout out to my boy Mickey Loomis, GM of the Saints.
Hey, wait, don't jump in here because there's 3 other people that got to go.
Just saying, the guy was $105 million over cap and somehow made it under without completely gutting the entire franchise.
So good transition. The Saints I have 2 co-winners of free agency. The first is the Saints for me. What they did and because anyone can shed 105 or whatever it is in cap, but doing that and keeping the players that he did is one of the most impressive things I've seen in recent history. Just
Can I
because
just say something I forgot to say? it's not only Mickey Loomis. I forget what the guy's name is, but apparently the Saints have like a cap god in
They
their
have their
front
Jonah
office.
Hill from Moneyball.
Literally, like apparently, like
Yeah.
there's a guy who
That's
can
how-
manipulate the cap.
That's how
so
Howie
well.
Roseman became the GM of the Eagles. He was like just a huge economics guy, and he's been doing that too for years. So
That's sick.
I love that. Though, like GMs that can do that consistently are just
Yeah.
like it's invaluable. And when they get fired, you don't realize what happens. But teams with bad GMs, you realize how bad they are when it comes to trying to shed cap effectively.
Listen, all I want to say before we move on is I do that tremendously in NHL. So whatever team fires their GM next, this is my official application to be your general manager.
Listen, when you can get a line of Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, and Nikita Kucherov and win the Stanley Cup while being under the cap, you got to sign this man.
All right, so my second winner of free agency is actually the Bengals. Okay, I find the Bengals improved drastically on defense. They signed Trey Hendrickson, Mike Hilton, and Chidobe Awuzie, and Larry Ogunjobi. And they managed to get their guy at left tackle. Riley Reef is a very good left tackle. I wanted him on the
I just saw something that he's starting at right tackle.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Either way. They got a tackle to protect Joe Burrow, which was a huge issue last year. They're definitely going to address some other O-line issues in the draft and things like that. But I find the improvements they made on defense with the young talent they already have, I think they did really, really well in free agency this year. You know, they did pay for some guys like the Patriots, like everyone else in free agency, but I really liked the pieces they added. Who else said? Shane, did you go?
Or not? Is the Cam not going? Am I going?
I was in agreement with the Pats. But I'll give an honorable mention to Washington, signed William Jackson, Curtis Samuel. Like they're huge, and I'm scared now, but
It's magic.
It's magic.
we'll see about him.
All right, like Dawson, I have two co-winners, and they don't really have to do with anything that you guys talked about. It comes through just filling, like I said before, filling in those two guys that are that guy or those two guys are going to put you over the top. To me, it's the Browns. They saw they needed a defensive back core. They saw they needed to get better, and they signed two starters from the best defense in the NFL. They signed Troy Hill at corner, and they signed John Johnson at safety. So, obviously, I think Andrew Barry, I think that's his name, their GM, he saw the holes on his roster and attacked them. He didn't spend too much over what I thought he would have had to pay for those guys. And he didn't add players that he didn't need to add just to make a splash in free agency. He also re-signed Rashard Higgins, who Baker Mayfield has vouched for many times. He said he loves him. So obviously you got to keep your quarterback happy. So Baker's happy. The second team might be a little shocked, but it's the Buffalo Bills. They had a bunch of free agents and found a way to bring all those free agents back to a 13-3 team. So they didn't mess with their chemistry. They didn't lose guys that they couldn't afford to lose. So they're basically bringing back the same team. I think Emmanuel Sanders, to me, is better than John Brown. So they upgraded there. And Mitch Trubisky is a far better quarterback than Matt Barkley for whatever reason. If Josh Allen goes down, obviously it's a drop in quarterback play, but you still have a starting quarterback instead of relying on Matt Barkley to try and lead your team.
Also, maybe one of the biggest fish signings, the Giants there, your boy.
Don't worry about it. I called it. I said it since day one.
Congratulations, sir. I would just like
Thank
to
you.
add that.
Thank you.
Also, for all my Colts fans, # bring TY home.